Hello, everyone. Happy November. This is our energy of the month. And before we begin, I just want to remind you that you can get more detail about the energy of every month by downloading or accessing Creating with the Moon and Stars. And so if you have already subscribed to my newsletter, you can access that. There is a coupon code available for you in the newsletter. Or if you haven't gone to download it yet, go to my website, yewchi.com, that's YEWCHI.com, and sign up for the newsletter to get free access. And with that, you will also get access to 22 days of transformation, which is to support you in your own journey of energetic alchemy and starting to recognize and be in observation of you, your energy, and how all of this really works in a very practical day-to-day way. So we have a lot coming up for November. One, I have to say, it's really exciting because it's the end of the year. And when the year is wrapping up, a lot of us start thinking about what we have done this year, what we have learned, what we've gone through. We start to go through our own harvest of really analyzing our experiences, our accomplishments, and sometimes considering what we haven't finished yet. We have this, oftentimes this imaginary deadline in our heads that we have to finish certain things by the end of the year. So if you are currently putting those kinds of pressures on yourself, really stop and consider if these are goals that really have to be met within that time frame, or if it is just self-imposed. And if you can lighten up a bit and really focus on how much you have done, or just be excited about the ideas and potential for what you're going to build in to do differently, change, whatever it may be. Now, this month is going to be really good for some introspection, also for some changes. So November, we are starting off in Scorpio season. So it makes this energy so much about revelation and transformation because of that Scorpio nature. Now, what may be revealed to you this month may be your own feeling about anything. You may have not recognized or realized how your internal feeling has been feeding your behaviors, maybe what you have allowed yourself to do or what you have been avoiding. Maybe any conflict that you have been dealing with. This month will really invite you in to observe your own internal stirrings to see how that is playing a part. And on the other side, transformation, we are in a constant state of change. But Scorpio is like, hey, let's go down and deep. We may even have to knock stuff all the way out, burn it to the ground, destroy it, but for the purpose of rebuilding with new wisdom, new understanding, and reconnecting to our power. So that brings us into our first significant energy update for November, which will be the new moon in Scorpio. So the new moon in Scorpio is on November 7th. And when we think of new moon energy, a lot of people think about a time to plant new seeds of intention. And again, if you want more information about how to manifest with the moon cycles, go to Creating with the Moon and Stars. But the new moon can also put us into the thought process of just new energy, a new way of seeing things, a new beginning in all senses of the word. It could be that you want to do something differently. It could be that you have shifted your perspective and have decided to move into some new energy. But with this Scorpio influence, you also want to allow that deep dive in, again, into your emotion, into what you may be feeling, but really observing what is coming up for you. Instead of pointing the finger out at everyone else and what they may be up to or what they may be doing, consider what is your feeling and why. It's also a beautiful energy that helps us to embrace our shadow or those parts of ourselves that we try to avoid. Scorpio can help us to go very deep into that And this again speaks to this new energy, a new way of doing things, allowing ourselves to look at whatever is coming up or being revealed for transformation. You play a part. What do you allow and what do you look away from? If you allow yourself to deal with what's coming up or to acknowledge what is coming up for you, it creates a path of new energy, because then you have that decision of, am I going to do this differently? Is there another way? Are there some solutions to support me in this new beginning, this new phase of energy? Now, when I was thinking about the new moon, and because it's in Scorpio and there is this opportunity to deep dive into ourselves, I thought it would be good to point out the use of Reiki symbols. So I know a lot of you who tune in do practice Reiki, and this is a great time to work with the symbols. So you can connect with the first symbol, the power symbol. And if you look at that symbol in the spiral of it, it brings us into ourselves, into our being. And again, it's power, because what is more empowering than being connected to yourself, having the strength and courage to connect in, go within ourselves. And then we can move on to the second symbol, which is the mental and emotional symbol, and really allow ourselves to tune into, again, that feeling, what's going on in the mind, our perceptions, what stories we may be creating or operating from. So work with those two symbols to really support you in going in and transforming your mindset that may be causing any challenges for you at this time, so that you can create that new pathway of energy. So after this, we have the Mercury going retrograde, which all of you know about by now, I'm sure. Retrograde is just an illusion of that any particular planet seemingly going backwards. And so with Mercury being the planet of communication, Mercury was the messenger god. When Mercury goes retrograde, we hear a lot about miscommunication, computers and technology going haywire, all of these certain things. But really, it's a great opportunity to be introspective, tune into that internalized communication, bringing it in. What do you think? What do you think you know? Now, this retrograde will start out in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a sign that really has a lot to do with wisdom, our wisdom that we gain through experience. So again, really analyzing or considering what it is you think you know, or what it is you feel or think you have learned, or where you may have missed the mark. It's the archer. But if we think about Mercury being the communicator, and if it is communicating in the energy of Sagittarius backward, we really can take a look at our wisdom through experience and maybe seeing where we have got it wrong. You know what I mean? Like misunderstood. Looking at where we may have misunderstood something that we thought we knew. Now, it takes a lot of being honest with ourselves, because sometimes we like to hold on to what we think we know, or our point of view, or whatever it may be, our interpretations. But this is a really good time to revisit, to reflect, and revise where necessary. And this retrograde will go on until December the 6th. So we have quite a bit of time to be in that energy. Now, another thing I wanted to point out for you is 11/11. So November 11th, we're in the 11th month, the 11th day, but we're also in a universal year 11, because 2018 equals 11. So it's a triple 11 day, which means that energy is going to be heightened. Okay, so already when we think of 11/11, we think about the balancing and the harmonization of the polarities within ourselves, our feminine and our masculine quality. We can also look at 11 as a portal energy going into a next phase of our life of our understanding, of our awareness. But in numerology, 11 is also a master number, and it is the master intuitive. So on this day, it would be really interesting if you take the time to connect with yourself. And you can do an exercise like automatic writing to connect with your higher self, your higher mind, your intuitive mind, and ask for clarity or guidance around something that you may be going through in your life, or asking for some information around this next phase or this portal that you are going through. So when we add the 3 11s together, 11, 11, 11, we get 33, which is also a master number. And 33 is the master teacher. So while you are in this energy and connecting with your higher mind or intuitive mind, you can also consider how you have been teaching yourself. You are your greatest teacher. You are the one learning and teaching and directing yourself through the experiences you have, the choices you make. You're your greatest teacher. So this is also a great time to consider how you are even mentoring yourself, how you are guiding yourself, moving yourself forward as we move into this transitional phase. So after that, just as a little fun thing for those of you who like astronomy, we will have another meteor shower. We had one last month, and we'll have another one on the 17th and 18th is when it will peak, and it is the Leonids meteor shower. So if you are interested in seeing that, you may want to look up in your area if there are local astronomical societies that do free events. Oftentimes they do, where you can go and use their telescopes and watch whatever the events may be. So we are going to round out this month with a full moon. So the full moon is going to be in Gemini, and that happens on the 23rd. So Gemini full moon. Whenever I think of full moon, one of the first thing that comes to mind is full completion. I always tell you to consider at this time what you are full of. Are you full of emotion? Are you full of inspiration? What's going on for you? Because it's in Gemini, you may be full of thought, a lot of decisions on your plate, weighing both sides of the coin. It's also a good time in this Gemini energy to consider both perspectives if you're trying to work through something that involves other people or another person. But what I want to point out is Gemini is also ruled by Mercury. And remember, at this time, Mercury will be in retrograde. So you do want to, again, not necessarily just act right away or be too impulsive, but take some time to be more reflective and introspective at this time. And with Gemini, you may even want to reach out and hear other people's point of view, or do some research, or see what you can learn. Now, by the time we get to the full moon, the sun will be in Sagittarius. So with this combination, you may even want to consider the wisdom that you can gain through experiences or new classes, or maybe a mentor or a teacher, some books. Inform yourself, but also what can you learn, or what are you learning through experience? Now, one of the things too, because of this time of year, it really is a lot of focus on that energy of harvest, or our ancestors would think about harvest at this time, and maybe anyone out there who may be a farmer. But it's a good time, again, like I said at the beginning, to consider all that you have gathered this year, how you have grown, how you have learned, because we can run the risk of being too stuck in what we haven't accomplished, what we haven't done, what has gone wrong, on and on and on. But it can be very beneficial when we step out of that chatter and really move into the energy of what did go right. Even if things didn't go the way you wanted or planned, what did you learn? What did you gain? What are you grateful for? And speaking of which, we also have the holidays upon us this month and next month. And so a lot of you will be spending time with friends and family. And it's good to remember that just like all of these planetary alignments and all of these different energies may be showing up and influencing you, they are feeling it too. Whether they're aware of it or not, we are all, part of this one just one. And so anything that's going on, even astrological or the energy of the different signs and the moon phases, we all are connected to nature, to all that exists. And so we all feel the effects of it, again, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with others and in these intimate gatherings. You may want to be a little more compassionate if you notice that people may be having a hard time around this like full moon energy, the retrograde, miscommunication, all of these things. Keep that at the forefront. You're not the only one going through it. So for November 2018, I just want to pull a card for us, the energy of the month. And the card that I pulled is the crown chakra. And what is coming up again is to tune into that intuitive mind. This would be a really good time to not only look at your perspectives and point of view from the analytical mind, but also, again, to remember to lift above that and into your higher consciousness, and remembering that we are all one, that we are all connected, and that, as much as we can be locked into our own points of view, perspectives, there are other people involved in our, I don't know why the word entanglement is coming up, but we're all connected, and so keeping that compassion at the forefront, that oneness. Now, again, because this crown chakra card came up, just another reminder to connect with the higher self. I believe there is a guided meditation and exercise to help you and guide you through that process if you've never done it before. That is also available in Creating with the Moon and Stars. So again, you can go to yuchi.com, sign up for the newsletter, and get the coupon code to access that for free. And even though we're at the end of the year, if you're like, well, that thing is almost over, it ends in December, there will be updates to Creating with the Moon and Stars for 2019. So if you have access now, you will also have access to the moon phases and everything coming up for the following year. Now, another thing I want to tell all of you is that my website and everything is changing. So if you haven't been to my site in a while, you may want to go and check it out and see what is going on. I am now moving into the energetic alchemist, and I'm really excited. I'll tell you more about it when I officially relaunch, but I just wanted to tell you all now to go check it out because changes have already been made, and you can also access some free guided meditations while you're there. So that is it. Happy November. I will see you all next month for our final month of the year, and I hope to hear from you all soon.